Hey, what is your everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to do our image views. So in the previous video, essentially we tackled swap chains, right? So in today's video, we are going to basically tackle image views. And this video might be the shortest video I've ever made, but who knows? Let's see. So yeah, let's get into it. So in the previous video, we created the swap chain, and then right in the end of the swap chain creation, we acquired images from the swap chain. So now that we have the images, what we need to do essentially is create image views from those images. And to do that, I have added two new functions, two new files called the Vulkan Image.h and then the Vulkan Image.c. So you guys can just go ahead and add those to your project as well. And then what I did was I also included that in the renderer.c here. So that's that, right? So now let's basically define the functions to essentially acquire or create our image views. So the way that I'm going to do this is similar to how they do it in the Vulkan tutorial, and essentially it might just be literally a replica of what they actually are just doing, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a function called create image views, and then I'm essentially just going to create a for loop and then go through every swap chain image that we have. Okay, probably might have 3 or 4, I'm not quite sure anymore. Yeah, I can't remember, but I think it should be 3 or 2, right? And then we should basically have an image view created from that image. All right, so yeah, hopefully that makes sense, right? It's really straightforward stuff here, so there isn't really too much to essentially do. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's create two functions. One is going to be a boolean. It's going to return a boolean. That's going to be called Vulkan create image views, right? And then it's going to take in, let me actually include let's include our Vulkan defines. So let's just do Vulkan defines.h. It's going to take in a Vulkan context. Okay, so that will be a pointer, and then we'll have another one that destroys the images. This one will also take in a context, so instead of create here, we just say destroy image views, and then instead of boolean here, we're just going to return a void when we destroy. So then we just copy these two functions and then paste them in the implementation C file, and then just open them up like this. And what's gonna happen now is hold on, what is going on here? Oh, my bad. Yeah, so now that should be fine. All right, so now what we're gonna do is essentially we are going to create these swap chain image views. So the way that I'm gonna go about this essentially is I think we might need a place to store this, and that is that. So vk image views, swap chain image views. Now I'm not sure if we already added this in the previous video, but let's just see if we have any. So let's do do I want to yeah, I think it should be in swap chain images. So no, we don't. All right, so we don't have an array to hold the swap chain image views. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this, and then we're going to go down to our defines.h file, and then in swap chain here where we have images, just below it we're going to have the image views. So I'm just going to remove the C++ stuff, and then this will be swap chain with the with a small letter C. So actually no, just remove the swap chain entirely, and then just say image views like this. I think this is the way I want it to be. Then I'm going to make that a pointer, and this is just going to be an array. Okay, so I'm just gonna make that apparent that this is an array of image views. So now that we have that, all we can do now is just go back in the image.c, and then what you want to do is basically create that array. So allocate memory for that array. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say context swap chain dot image views equals to array, right? And then we're going to create, or we could reserve well, let's reserve, but I don't have my container, so let's do containers slash array. Okay, that will give us our array function here. So let's reserve, reverse reserve, right? And then we're gonna reserve space for image views, and that is a VK image view. And then the capacity is just going to be array get count, and then we're gonna get the count of the swap chain images, right? So I think we can just do context swap chain dot I think it's images, the swap chain images. Yeah, all right, so that should work. Okay, sweet stuff. All right, so now that we have the array created, all we need to do is create this for loop here. So I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to do a for, and I'm going to do int I is equals to 0, and then I is less than array get count. I think I'll just yank this, paste it like this. So it's going to get the count of the swap chain images that we have in that array. Then we're going to increment this loop, and then for each iteration what we want to do is create a VK image create info, which is this guy here. So what I'm going to do is just copy this, paste it in there, and then just copy paste every single thing here. Actually, paste it in there, copy this as well, because at this point in time there is no need for us to actually change any of these, because we're just setting up our Vulkan renderer, right? So we just want things to work at least at the minimum. So that's what I'm doing here. In future videos I might just come back here and just customize a few things, right? So yeah, so the only thing I want to do here is just remove this, and then instead say result, and then create that variable. So VK result oopsie equals to that function that I yanked out, and then this should compare the result to see if it's equals to success, and if it's not, then we're going to throw an error. So I might just need to include our debug logger, so that's in core / logger, and then what we want to do is just log an error message. So let's do L error, failed to create image views, and then because we're returning a boolean here, so let's just return false, okay, because it failed. And then I just want like a space between that, and then here we just put a 0 in here to 0 out everything in the struct, and then instead of swap chain images at I, this will be context swap chain dot images I, like this, okay, and then swap chain image format. I think that is in the context swap chain dot image format. Sweet. See how easy that is. Yeah, it's pretty easy. And then let's see, I don't think we want to change any of these, like I said, so we're just going to keep them as is. And then that leaves us with the following down here. So the device will just be context / I think they're looking for the logical device here, so let me just double check. Yeah, logical device, and then they create info. In fact, I just want to rename this. You guys don't have to, but it's just the way that I like to name my variables. And then just create info like this, and then add swap chain image views I. So this will just be the new array that we created, which is swap chain dot image views at that index right there. Lovely. All right, so now that we have that, we also checking if it was successful or not. Then we can basically get out of this for loop. Then once it is successful, we can just return true. Yeah, just return true. I think that's fine, right? Yeah, I think that's fine. And then the other thing that I can do here is we can just set up the destroy, so that we can destroy all the image views. So to do that, I think they're just iterating as well. Yeah, they are. So I'm going to create a for loop as well. So int I is equals to 0, where I is less than And then the count, essentially, is just going to be this guy here. So I could have just copied the entire loop, but it's fine. And then we just increment I. And then for each image, right, what we want to do is we want to call VK destroy image view. So we're just going to paste that in there. And in fact, I'll just copy this because I think it just wants the logical device. And then the image view, let's see what they're doing here. Image views from the swap chain image views. So what I can do is just simply take it from the array. So let's do context swap chain dot image views at that current index. And I think that should be perfectly fine for us. And then the what is that? The p allocator is 0. So that's it. So let me just save this. And then go back into the renderer.c, and then let's just scroll all the way down here. So right after we create our swap chain, we can basically create our image views, right? So let's do Vulkan create image views, and then just pass in the context there. And then if that fails, we just do an L fatal and be like, failed to create Vulkan image views. Oh, sweet. And then we just return false from this function here. And then we can just build this. Oh, and which also gives me another thing to talk about, but before that, let's just test and see if everything is working. Let's see. Logical device created 3 swap chain images, and swap chain created successfully. So this didn't get called, meaning that it did not fail. But just to double check, let's just go back up here. Okay, wait, actually let me close this, and then we should see some errors here. Oh yeah, so this is an indication that those images are actually being created, because here it says VK image view has not been destroyed. So they are getting created, and they were created. So now the only thing we need to do is go back to our Vulkan renderer.c, and then where we're shutting down, just add Vulkan destroy image views, and then just pass in the context there, and then that should get rid of this error that we see here when we close the app. So let's rebuild. So let me save that file, rebuild, and then run the app again. And then when I close this now, we shouldn't see any red messages, right? So let me close it, and you'll see that we don't have any, so it's all good. So we successfully deleted or destroyed the image views. So it means that our function to create the image views is indeed working, and also to destroy them is also working. And that's it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoy these type of videos, definitely hit that like and subscribe button for more videos in relation to Vulkan. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. But before I go, actually, you know what, it's okay. I'll talk about it another time. Cheers.